Yeah. And we are live, Krista.
Thank you. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this True Talk today called the Fairytale of the Solopreneur. You know, it's what to do when reality is a lot more exhausting and a lot less glamorous than expected. My name is Krista Beck, and I'm today's host. We are so super excited to have you here. This is our first call. True Talk is a completely new thing, and it's really a place to share ideas, share wisdom, and a place to find support. And we would really like it if you would participate in the conversation. So in the bottom right corner, there's a golden chat box. So just register with a one-time name to participate in the conversation. Now, if you're watching this on Google Hangouts, go to truetalk.club and hit the button where it says today's talk, and that is where our talk and chat is hosted so you can participate. Now, before I introduce our True Talker of today, let me just quickly introduce myself. As I said, my name is Krista Beck. I'm a speaker for dating and relationships, and what motivates me more than anything is being a cheerleader for people going for what they want in their lives. And this extends to my clients, who I help attract the partner of their dreams. But this also extends to my fellow female entrepreneurs. I mean, I just love it when they rise up and build global businesses. So that's a little bit about me. Now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce today's True Talker, Anais Bach. She is the founder of Bullshit Elimination, which is a service design agency. So she helps people sell without pretending. So, for instance, through her offering Business Wonder Blah, she removes the bullshit from your website and makes your online presence lovable and real. And she's so good at it. She is also the creator of Dream Draw, which is an online course for business planning for people who hate business plans, and they really want to create from the heart. So that's a little bit about Anais, and I'm so excited to hear what she's going to share tonight. So without further ado, let's jump into today's True Talk.
Oh my gosh, Krista, that was like the most professional intro I've ever heard. And I'm so excited to be here with you today. To me, True Talk means a lot because I find it's a chance to connect differently and just really share our truth and be in service to one another without all the marketing that gets in the way and has people put up these big resistance walls and say, you know, I'm going to listen, but I'm going to listen conditionally because I know you're going to offer me something. So we want to do this differently. We're in service today, and we're going to be talking about the Fairytale of the Solopreneur. And I just want to tell you how I'm going to structure this. The True Talk is going to take about half an hour. You have a chat box to rant and ask questions, and we'll have a look and jump in there during, and we'll have a Q&A afterwards. And what I'm going to be covering is there is the fairy tale. What does that fairy tale look like? Then I'm going to rant. What does reality look like? I'm going to tell you about the three main problems I see that are causing this conundrum between reality and what it actually looks like. And then I'm going to be suggesting 5 things we can do to change this in our businesses and lives and have way more fun. Does that sound good? Did I say everything, Krista?
That sounds awesome.
Okay. So if everyone can hear me and you're in the chat, then it would be amazing if you gave me like a sign that you're actually hearing this, that the broadcast is working, because we know the chat is working. Some people have been saying that they're from Mallorca, Sweden, you're from Amsterdam, there's someone from Oregon, there's someone from MD here. So if you can hear this, then it would be amazing if you gave us a sign that you are actually hearing this. And we have a small delay. So between the time when we say something and you actually, read it and have the chance to respond, there's about 30 seconds. So don't feel like we're ignoring you if we don't respond immediately to a question that you post there. But I'll just get going and hop right in. So the fairy tale, how does that fairy tale look? The fairy tale is that, oh, I'm receiving responses here. So someone from San Diego, oh, Crystal and Jennifer, yay, thank you for being here. So I can see that you're receiving this, hooray, fantastic. So the fairy tale, it looks like this. The fairy tale is you buy a book, you know, maybe it's the 4-Hour Work Week, or maybe it's, you know, some other inspiring book that tells you that there is something beyond that hamster wheel of 9 to 5. And what you do is that you know, publish a blog and start doing this on the side effortlessly. You know, you just have this thing and you start it effortlessly while, you know, maintaining the security of your job, and you gain momentum really fast, and people respond to you and respond to what you're saying, and you start earning real bucks next to your job. And as you grow, you begin outsourcing and you hire people, right? Because you can't be doing this all on your own. You hire people to support you, and the more your business project grows, the less you do at your work, until you quit your job and fly free and go and live on a beach somewhere in Asia, or, you know, Costa Rica, Bali, whatever it is. And you live this amazing lifestyle and take the occasional snapshot of your, you know, Malibu in hand kind of lifestyle to share the behind the scenes truth. And it's just amazing. And as you grow your business and the message builds up, you're sharing with more and more people. And that's not how the reality usually looks. Because usually you spend about 6 months, in my case, doodling logos of, you know, what that ideal thing is going to look like, and imagining that office space that you're going to have one day, but not actually going and sharing anything in the real world for about 6 months. So you daydream. Once you get started, you have no clue how to get started. You try a billion different things, and the more you dig into that world of entrepreneurship, the more stuff you find out. Like, oh my God, I should be posting on social media every day, and I have to blog at least once per week, and I should be, you know, going to all these live events and reaching out to real people, but, you know, I shouldn't be salesy, so I should provide service to them for free. So I should be reaching out to all these authors and people I admire and supporting them, and then they will start paying attention to me, and, you know, I'll be famous anytime soon. Like, I'm just one viral Facebook post away from making it, and that's just not true. Like, a viral Facebook post, I had viral Facebook posts. They, you know, they get you volume. But that volume can result in overwhelm, and a viral Facebook post won't solve any problems. And there's no secret superpower you have to have, and there's no, you know, all these things, all these strategies you're reading about are wonderful. Like, I just want to make sure that you know that I'm not against any of those strategies. I'm just against the overwhelm that happens as you're a solopreneur, and you look at all these people who seem to have fantastic realities, and you compare that to your backstage mess, and just feel, you know, Krista, you're entertaining me here, thank you. You just feel completely alone and out of space, and there's like a huge gap between those who've made it and what's going on for you. Can you, you know, does this resonate with anyone? Has anyone ever felt this? If yes, you know, give me a sign in the chat box. What about you, Krista? Has this been a reality for you?
Oh, yes. There's so many moving parts. Oh, beginning part of this year, I was exhausted.
Yeah. Beginning of this year, like I've had times when I just felt so alone. To the extent that I wrote my master's thesis in organizational behavior on the isolation of self-employed online workers. Like, that was just a cry for help. It was just like, it was like self-therapy. Like, how can we fix this thing? Why do I feel so alone, although I'm so hyper-connected and I have so many friends on Facebook, and I'm just, you know, doing all this stuff, How can I feel alone in that position? So yes, that's the problem. And I just want to distill that, all those symptoms into the three main problems that I see that are causing this mess. So problem number one is where you, I'm just, if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes here just to make sure I'm not forgetting anything.
We're allowed to have notes. It's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. So problem number one that I see is we are used to putting our most professional face forward at all times in business. It's what we've learned. You know, you have your personal life, you have your business life, keep them separate, and in business, put your professional face forward. So for me, in the beginning, I became self-employed as an image consultant. So color analysis, style analysis, all those things. And I was sincerely constricted and felt horrible at all times by this put your professional face forward, because to me that meant look impeccable all the time because you're an image consultant. So I remember this conversation I had with my mom that was, you know, she was telling me, why are you putting on makeup to go walk your dog at 6 in the morning on a golf course? It's like, I'm an image consultant. Like, I have to look perfect. It was like a major case of perfection mindfuck. And the thing that happens when you're putting your professional face forward is that you're actually creating distance, right? So people do not feel like you're approachable when you're like holding a business card out all the time and, you know, looking all serene and saying, why, yes, I am a this and that coach and I'm an image consultant and, you know, you should come to me for this. You know, it doesn't, like, where's the humanity in that? People can't actually connect to us. So the professional face that we're actually putting forward to be professional in our business often results in distance. The second one is that we are feeding virtual realities. So that's linked to the first one, but we're doing all these things online, so taking shots of our highlight moments, our highlight reels, and feeding the reality that this solopreneurship is so fun and everything's fantastic. And when someone asks how you are, you go, oh, great, my business is going, couldn't be better. And on the inside, you're like, oh gosh, I need a client. You know, like, so we are actually feeding that gap by only sharing our highlight reel. And there's a thing that's been happening lately as well that I've seen, that is that vulnerability is suddenly in. But what I'm seeing online isn't vulnerability. It's sharing, or a lot of times, I'm not generalizing here, but a lot of times I see people sharing vulnerable posts from the past. So 2 weeks ago, I was in a bad place, but then I did this and that, and now I'm a success story, and everything's fine. And it's being shared under the guise of vulnerability, but actually, it's just another success story. Did I explain that well, Krista? Did you get that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to know if anyone else has had this experience where they feel like they're having to put on a mask and only put the best foot forward and only show the good.
Yeah, so I'm watching the chat here. So if you have any comments and want to share your story, then please, we'll be speaking to you through this wonderful medium. Yeah, so that's problem number two. We're feeding that virtual reality that everything is perfect by creating these perfect posts, and we can really let go of that. But I'll get to what we can do in a bit. Number three is that we are...
One second. Vera says she's allergic to super happy people.
Okay, yeah, I get that. And someone shared with me the other day, she was like, if I see another person sharing a picture of themselves holding a cocktail and just being like, I love my work, I will shoot them. It's very funny. Okay, so going forward, the third problem I see is that we are very busy doing all these things that we feel we should do. There's, you know, the posts every day, the blogging, all these things are part of a strategic machinery that we've built to actually support us and support our business. But a lot of times the overwhelmed and exhausted entrepreneur is spending 90% of his or her time keeping the machinery alive. So the thing that's supposed to support us and make us feel good is what takes most of our energy. So we have a few comments coming in here. Yeah, exactly. Dustin says, it's the tough part of social media where anything not completely positive is not accepted. Absolutely agreed. And Vera says, perfectionism often equals professionalism. How to strike the balance. Crystal's asking, she's curious about how to strike the balance between being vulnerable and airing your dirty laundry out loud. It's a fine line and the perception of whiny versus something that people can relate to. Okay, this is a really, really, really interesting one. So one thing that I find can really help is by setting the energy and just say, you know, if someone whines, then they usually, you ask them, how are you? And then they start and it doesn't stop for the next 45 minutes and there's no way to interrupt that. And you're sort of bringing that energy down and whining, right? If you say, hello, you know, you acknowledge that you want to whine and you just set, or you want to rant, you want to share what is happening for you, then a great way of doing that is simply saying, yes, you know, I would like to share what has been happening for me. Bam, setting the seed. Because that way you give a choice to whoever is consuming that information to read on or not read on. That's one thing that I find really important or helpful. What do you think, Krista?
Well, I think there is a fine line with being vulnerable and airing your dirty laundry. You want to be, and I think we're going to get to this later in the call, but on this Truetalk, but being able to share with your trusted people around you that are kind of in the same boat as you, like fellow entrepreneurs. Like I had something recently happen with my business, and it was a little like I felt like I was losing and I felt embarrassed and I didn't want to share, but when I had the encouragement of these wonderful female entrepreneurs around me and I would share what was going on, they were really supportive and really helped me to open up to see a new avenue. So I think being vulnerable and sharing what's going on with your supported network, with people who can relate to what you're going through and who want to support you.
And what I'm hearing there as well is the question, who are you sharing this with? So this is, I mean, this is enough. Crystal, I'd love you. I know you could talk about this for ages. And I think it's a big one where people ask themselves, how much do I share publicly? And how much do I keep within certain circles? Mm-hmm. So that's a strategic choice. I don't think there's any right or wrong, but every person has to decide which circles to share what kind of information in. And there's a difference between a public Facebook post and, I don't know, sharing something in conversation, obviously, mm-hmm. right? So everyone needs to decide for themselves what feels right. And to me, a good way of judging what feels right to me is thinking about, if I imagine these people in front of me in the room, if I had to actually picture people sitting in front of me who I'm sharing this with, how big, how much energy could I hold and do I want to hold to share this message? Is this something, if I envision this room and I'm sharing, is this something where I see 3 people sitting in front of me and I'm sharing? Or is this something where I see a TED kind of stage and there are 500 people in front of me? So just by taking that virtual medium and visualizing it in terms of people actually receiving that energetic information and coming back to you, I can decide what kind of volume I'm going to share it with. Does that make sense, Krista? Okay, she's doing this. Okay, so so to recap the 3 problems, you put your most professional face forward at all times. You're actually feeding that virtual reality of everything's perfect and nothing's wrong here. And you are busy keeping the machinery alive at all times. So what do you do? What do you do in order to counteract that movement? So I have 5 points for you. Um, one is stop doing things that don't feel good.
Mm.
It's really, really simple. Just because other people are doing it, it doesn't mean you have to do it too. And this is basically, this is about that illusion. You know, what really feels good to you? How much do you want to share? What kind of energy? What does vulnerability mean to you? Who's your audience? How many people can see this? You know, like share your truth. You know, share your truth and decide how many people you want to share this with. The second one, and this one's been really important for me, is find focus.
What is?
Sorry?
What focus? I didn't hear you.
I said find focus in general. And what I mean by that is that our energy is diluted by the million things we do, and by the million people we're trying to connect with, or by the 3,000 things we're trying to do simultaneously and be successful at all these things at the same time. Whether that's launching a new product, blogging simultaneously, reaching out to people, doing one-on-one calls. Oh, I should do that mastermind. I should attend 7 meetup groups. I should, you know, that should-do list, that really, really long should-do list. Look at the should-do list and look at what brings you joy. Like, what gives you the highest energetic return on investment to you? How many things can you actually cross out simply because they don't serve you? These 1 and 2 are really, really closely linked. So stop feeding the illusion. Share your truth. You know, even if that is vulnerable and feels weird, visualize that audience of people in front of you. Decide how many people you want to share it with, and stop doing a million things. Do the things that give you the highest return on your energy investment. Number 3, and this one is a huge one for me, it's have an ask. Be aware of what you need. Because when you're in that paradigm of, I have to provide value first and prove that I'm worthy of being this service provider and receiving money in return, you can be in that service mindset all the time of like, oh, here I am connecting, here I am providing service. What do you need? What's your number 1 ask? Pop it in the chat box if you want to. What is your number 1 ask? If a fairy godmother were standing in front of you, you know, ready to wave her wand and give you whatever you desire, what's the one thing you would ask her for? And I remember last year at WDS, someone asked me this question, and I was just completely stunned. I didn't know what to answer. And, you know, I said something like, oh, I'm just here to connect with people, like-minded people, and be of service. And as I was speaking, I noticed that that was kind of bullshitty. I was like, oh, you know, oh shit, you know, I don't even know. I need so many things. I have so many asks that I haven't dared to share, that I simply don't know what my number 1 ask would be. So, you know, what is your ask? I know that for me, when people ask me right now, what's your ask? I say, I want to get to know amazing women entrepreneurs who have amazing energy and are willing to share, you know, especially in Europe. So if anyone knows any women entrepreneurs in Europe who want to be vulnerable and do this kind of Truetalk thing, please, please, please connect me. That's my ask. What do you think of the whole ask business, Krista?
Yes, and I thought of your ask too, one for you, which is like, we both love speaking. We love that, and so we're always looking for venues to speak. So if there are any venues that anyone knows of that Anais can speak at, or I can speak at, I mean, I think that's an ask, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty good ask. And for everyone here, Krista is a brilliant speaker. Like she's really good at everything relationships and love and getting behind the bullshit there. Like, I think secretly she's like the bullshit elimination person for love. Okay, but so this is have an ask. Become aware of your ask. What is your ask? Number 4 is, and this one's probably the most important, it's build environments of service. And I actually have a few things to say about this one. So what is service? Service is when you're there to be in the moment, and when you're there to be curious about who's in front of you, and when you're just there to have their highest good in mind without screwing yourself over at the same time. And the things that this manifests for me in, that wasn't a correct sentence. The things this manifests in for me, okay, are number 1, screw sales calls. A lot of people feel like they have to do sales calls. They have to have these conversations where they pitch themselves and show their products from their best, from the best angle, and create a need for their business. And I've stopped having sales calls. I have 2 days a week where I have outreach with people. I connect with people. I'm in service to people. I figure out what they need. And it doesn't matter whether they are clients, whether that's just a great chat and I learn something new and we never speak again, or whether I connect them to someone I know. When I stopped having sales calls, my entire business reality, my day-to-day business reality, just exhaled and relaxed. It's just, how's this for you, Krista? Because I know you do the same, right?
That I do calls? That I have done sales calls? Is that what you're asking?
And that you don't, like, that you are all about just being in service when you connect with people.
Yeah, I love just having conversations with people, and if I see a need, like where I can provide a service, I'll say, hey, you should work with me. But I love just listening for how I can serve them and being connected and learning from them. That seems to be where my calls have evolved into now. Really just truly connecting, making friends, making connections.
Yeah.
And like having a conversation about becoming a client, if that's a natural opening.
Yeah, it's just so much more relaxing than to be in the oh, this is a personal sphere, and then as soon as you go business, you go, hello, take my business card. I will provide a service. Like super detached and robotic. Like people. My most happy clients are my most happy clients because they say, you're so real. And you swear when we're on the phone, and your gestures are crazy, and and you share a bit of your life. Well, that's service, and it's so much more relaxing as well. The other one that I've started doing, and I just love to share, is something that I call circles of service, where when I'm in a group, I just propose it. And in the beginning, these were just groups of friends, and now I facilitate this professionally, where there's basically a hot seat and people go out there and, share their most pressing problem issue right now related to pretty much anything in their life. And then everyone in the group goes in there really just with an energy of, how can we make this happen? How can we serve that person and push her forward? Because when people do that, their energy, is more than the sum of the individual parts. It just seems to, reach a next level, and you can do so much with that. And so,
yes, I agree.
Yes, and I'd love Truetalks to become something like this, So this is the very first one, and I'm happy to receive your feedback afterwards or during in the chat. But this is what we want it to evolve to.
Love it.
Okay, so the next one is get help. I know it's called Solopreneur, and you sort of think you have to do everything on your own because you don't have the cash to hire help right now. But really, we are not designed to be doing any of this on our own, any whatsoever. So for me, getting help means becoming aware that getting help is not something bad. It's natural. So when you're investing in self-development, whether that's through a mentor or a mastermind, or I'm going to be speaking about masterminds in just a bit, but become aware that that doesn't mean that this is a weakness and that you are needing more support, like another certificate on the wall. This is that you're investing in yourself to up level. Everything I've ever invested in self-development that I was really committed to has brought me to the next level. So self-development is a beautiful investment, but and really energetically valuable. But it has bad press because people see it as, oh, you're weak, you're needing help, you can't do this on your own. So I think it's really time that we are open about this and shift that paradigm. And get a mentor, get a mastermind. To me, masterminds have been the most powerful form of up-leveling my business and getting it to the next level. And I have 3 ways of judging whether a mastermind is the right one for me. Number 1 is the person is not just knowledgeable, like in this old guru mindset, like, ooh, they have $1 million. And so they must know how to get $1 million, right? But they have the energy that I want, the energy or lifestyle that I want. They just seem to exude that energy that I want to have in my life. That's number 1. Criteria number 2 is they have clients who have the energy that I want, because some people are great at doing this for themselves and at creating this life that they want, but it doesn't automatically mean that they're the best facilitator and the best channel for you to have that same thing. And number 3 is there is a process. There is a sense of accountability, because I've seen and I've attended a bunch of masterminds where it was just we meet for coffee meetings every week and we all share and we all give each other's opinion and tell each other stories. And that links to what Crystal asked before with airing your dirty laundry versus vulnerability. A lot of times stories have that, oh, here we are buying into each other's stories and there's no up-leveling, there's no process, there's no advancement. So that's how I personally decide whether I'm going to be in a mastermind or not. That's pretty much it for me. And at this point, I would if this were a usual webinar, I would totally sort of start telling you about my mastermind and be like, ooh, what a coincidence. I have a mastermind and you should, sign this contract and sell me your soul. I don't have a mastermind. I truly do not have a mastermind, and I don't plan on having one anytime soon. I do know a lot of great masterminds, and I love saying that I'm a master connector myself. So if anyone here feels like, oh my gosh, I haven't had this energy of true service, I haven't been connecting with the right people, or I don't know how to get that in my life consistently, or the masterminds I've been to are basically coffee meetings where we tell each other stories and then go away and come and tell each other the same stories the next week, then do get in touch with me and I can recommend people. I can connect you to people all over the world who are fantastic and have these same beliefs about authenticity. Yes, I'm actually going to pop in my calendar link for anyone who wants to chat with me. And to the chat, simply, not because I want to sell you anything, promise, but because I remember how I felt at one point in my business where I just felt so isolated. I just felt like I knew a lot of people, but I didn't have the ability to really connect. I didn't feel safe enough to share my ask. I didn't have the necessary support. I didn't know masterminds existed at that level where it's no longer about story, but it's about truly up-leveling and truly challenging each other to move beyond. So yeah, that's my offer to you. And I'd love to open up for Q&A. So if anyone has any additional questions, now would be the right time to share them. Krista, do you want to, oh wait, I'll do like a short recap for everyone in case you're like taking notes and you're like, what did Anais just say? Like, this was a totally weird structure. I'm not very German when it comes to this, so I'll try to recap for you. If that's okay. So the 3 main things that are going wrong, according to Miss Anais, are we're too busy putting our most professional face forward all the time. Number 2 is we're feeding the virtual reality that everything is fantastic while we feel crap on the inside, and we can just share our true face by deciding what kind of volume or what kind of people we want to share our reality with. And number 3 is we're so busy just keeping this machine alive, this machine that is based on everything we think we should do rather than the things that give us the highest return on our energy investment. And the 5 things I suggested are: stop feeding the online illusions, stop doing a million weird things just because everyone else is telling you to do them, and do what gives you the highest return on your energy investment. Number 3 is have an ask. Open up to receiving. Become aware of what you actually need and dare to ask it. Dare to actually connect with people and say, this is what I need. And own your ask. Number 4 is build environments of service. And that was screw sales calls, have true talks like this one, steal the idea, have more true talks.
Yeah.
Let us host you. And create circles of service, whether with your friends or, start just doing them professionally. If anyone wants to host a circle of service and wants to know what that means and how it works, also book a slot with me and I'll tell you all about it. I want to share. And the 5th one is get help. Get help. Invest in high-level mentoring or a mastermind. And the best way to decide whether a mastermind is good is the people actually have that energy stamp that you want in your life. They're putting that out there. They have clients who have that energy that you want. And number 3, they have a process for up-leveling and accountability. And it's not just about telling each other stories. Ta-da! Krista, any questions, any additions, what do you think?
I think, the one thing that came up for me is, when you said the highest return on energy investment, are you also including in that like the highest energy, like you want to feel positive, but the energy that you want to feel positive about what the actions you're taking, but you also, what I'm hearing too is that you want to be taking the actions that are going to bring the income in. That it's easy to get distracted with all these moving parts, but not actually doing the specific action that you need to take to be able to get more clients or bring in more income.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, so for me, I was thinking about the return, because sometimes there are things that we know are very important and we don't do them because they feel shitty and our resistance is right there. And so it's not necessarily about doing everything that is fun all the time and easy all the time, because sometimes we can distract ourselves with what we really need to be doing, but rather it's about return on investment. And a lot of times the return on investment is purely measured in money, right? I invest and I get so and so many bucks. And for me, yes, that is important. Yes, yes, yes. I love money. Money are freedom units. Money is, your way of creating more of what you want and giving more to other people. But there's also something else there. It's also and how is it feeding your soul? How are the things that are coming back out of what you invest, how are they feeding your soul? I know that, and a lot of times people don't want to stop doing something because they hope that it will make them money someday maybe. But the energy that is coming back out of, some social media platform really doesn't feed their soul. So to me, that's an example of, okay, that's not a good return on my energy investment. Even if someone took out $1,000 and threw them at me, that's not a good return on my energy investment because it just feels ugh, so
Wow.
stop doing everything that has a ugh outcome.
Can I share an example really quick?
Yes.
Yeah, so for me, what I realized is why I was feeling miserable in my business and why I wasn't having the success I wanted is because I was doing everything by myself. And what I realized within the last few weeks, really, of with my mentor, is that I'm actually designed. I have certain skills and strengths, like being positive and being connected with people. Those are my strengths. But there's other aspects of business that are not my strengths, and I didn't know this. And that for me to feel happy in my business and also to be happy with just energetically is to be partnering up with other people and creating businesses and ideas with others, and then that's when I feel alive. And that's when I feel like I have most success.
Yeah, I agree. And at this point, I'd really love to hop into something Vera said. She said it would be great to keep the machine running, blogging, posting, video editing, etc., if you could afford a team at the start of our business launch, Utopia. And this one's really, really interesting. And I just want to share a story from my business when I had just, zero money at that time to invest in a team. What I did was I got some help for free. I got a practical student to help me for free. How did I do that? I shared a challenge. I set myself, this is a challenge I set, I'm going to launch a product I'm going to create a product from scratch in 21 days. So anyone who wants to learn how to create a product in 21 days can come and work with me for free. I'm not going to be paying anything, but they will learn the process from A to Z. They will learn a great deal about the behind the scenes stuff at my business, and they will help me create this beautiful thing, and they'll be able to replicate it in their business. And it's just an investment of 21 days. Some people pay $2,000 to learn how to launch a product. So sometimes these exchanges don't work the way we think they work. It's not just about money. You see, sometimes just getting help for what you're doing can be really, really, really rewarding to someone else. So that's just a different way of thinking about it.
Great idea. Brilliant idea, Anais.
And even if you don't do that, I mean, this is just one of the ideas, to get together with a team of other women and have accountability and share skills and say, well, for instance, I'm really, really good at coming up with names for anything. Like blog posts, business names, whatever, you name it. Like for me, this is a 5-minute investment. And other people spend 3 months thinking about the perfect name. Now, there are other things that I suck at. So it's really, really good to find people whose strengths are complementary to your own, and to just do an exchange. For me, it's bliss to have coffee with one of my entrepreneur friends and come up with 3 names for blog posts. I'm doing that while I'm sipping my coffee. And for them, it's really good to help me with all these techie things. I go crazy over this. Like, I spend hours, like, you don't know how proud I am of myself for having been able to embed that chat box on my site. I promise you, and now I'm thinking, gosh, I could have so asked one of my friends to do that. They would have been like, sure thing, I'll do that in 2 minutes, no problem, copy, paste. And here I am, like, killing myself. So a lot of times these energies are complementary. Do you have anything to add to that while I read our next comment, Krista?
No, I don't have anything to add to that because I was just really getting into what you were saying.
Okay, so in this chaotic online environment, how do we establish a presence without being smarmy so that we can create an ask? I have years worth of giving away my expertise, and I'm now in the process of changing my career focus, just wondering how to start over. Okay, so I'm hearing like a bunch of questions within this question. So first of all, one thing I'm hearing is that you need to establish a certain presence before you can have an ask. And I challenge you to have an ask no matter where you're at. It's just a question of first knowing what your ask is and then going out to people and daring to ask the ask. Even if you have no business and no website and no expertise, you can find, once you're clear on what your ask is, it will be super easy to find places where people hang out who actually know stuff about this. Whether that's a meetup group or an event or a conference, as soon as you have an ask, you can go and ask it. And the other thing,
your ask is always going to change. It's really in the moment, like what you're needing. Hi, Jennifer. I think it's really always, your ask could be like, for example, I'm wondering how to start over. Your ask could be whatever it is your next step is with starting over, asking for support, being in conversation with people.
And I think it's also really, really helpful to remember that it's okay to be a work in progress. Everyone is a work in progress. That's like that paradigm of, oh, I can only share once I've reached some level of perfection. You know, some of the most successful people out there are the ones who are really like open about being newbies and just say, I'm a newbie. I have no idea how to do this, but I love it and I'm going to give it my all and I'm really, really committed to make this happen and I need blah, blah, blah. You know, like they just say what their ask is and they motivate people by sharing what they believe in. They share that. If you haven't read it, read Start With Why by Simon Sinek. They share.
Say that again.
If you haven't read it, read the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek. I recommend that to anyone because it's not actually what you do that motivates people, but it's why you do it. It's what you believe. It's your vision that motivates people. So when you start with why, it doesn't matter that the what is, still a work in progress. It can be an absolute beginning, and to just say, I believe in this and that, whatever it is that you're wanting to start over with. Why do you want to start over? What's the change in career focus that you want to have? And once you know that, you can share, oh, well, this is where I'm at and this is what I need. Does that make sense? Okay, super. So I think we're ready to wrap up. Right, Krista? Unless anyone has any extra questions, but I can't see any right now. So feel free to chat with us on truetalk.club. There's a contact form at the bottom. Feel free to tell us what you thought about this True Talk, about any other True Talks, and any other topics you'd want to know about. All of that, just, feel free to rant back. So thank you so much, Krista, for being my wonderful host on this True Talk. I'm so, so happy to have been able to have this conversation with you.
You're welcome, and it was so great to hear you share all your wisdom with us, so thank you so much. And I want to thank all of you for coming. This was our first time, so thank you to everyone who is on this True Talk today. And I actually have the pleasure of being the next True Talker. And so we're going to be moving from the business domain more to the love domain. And I'm going to be giving a talk about the myths of finding the right partner for you. So, and also, if you do want to do your own True Talk, just contact us, like Anais said, at truetalk.club. And we would love to connect. So let's make True Talk a thing. And thank you so much for coming. Bye.
Bye.